you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
I think it's ridiculous. I think it's just another excuse. I don't believe it. I don't know why. And I think it's just, they talked about all sorts of things. Every week it's another excuse. We had a massive landslide victory, as you know, in the Electoral College. I guess the final numbers are now at 306, and she, down to a very low number. No, I don't believe that at all.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio. Your host, Brian Smith, here on the morning show. I stayed up all night last night just so I could give you all the details of breaking news that went down through the middle of the night. I've got the details, and we're going to talk about Donald Trump's Secretary of State pick. We're also going to talk about how Mitt Romney seems like maybe he got trolled. I'd like to believe that maybe that went down that way because I really find Mitt Romney absolutely despicable. But apparently, breaking news: Trump called Mitt Romney, told him he's out of the contention for Secretary of State, and thanks for the drive-by. I don't know what that's all about. It's pretty insane. The fact that Donald Trump was even considering. And we got some inside news that that some of the camp, some of Donald Trump's camp, were absolutely fighting tooth and nail to get Mitt Romney in the picture and make him part of the transition team. And I don't know where that came from, out of left field. But the reports I'm hearing now is that Mitt Romney is no longer in contention for any position in the Trump transition team or in the Trump cabinet. Take it for what it's worth. Something that I want to say though, folks, is that we've got to understand Donald Trump is a very reasonable and sane man. He's a very competent decision maker, and we need to take comfort in knowing that he's going to do the absolute best that he can possibly do for this country and for the outcome of this country. See, there's things that now are out of our control. We as the voters, we have no more control. I mean, in the sense that we can blow up Twitter and hashtag Never Romney for about 4 or 5 days straight that trended. We can do those kinds of things. But in the sense of controlling Donald Trump, controlling his moves, controlling all the different decisions he's going to make, can't do that. There's some things that Ronald Reagan did back in the day that, when we look back and history looks back, maybe you shouldn't have done that. Okay, maybe you did get duped into believing that signing amnesty this one time and then secure the border, that'll be good to go. No. You were tricked. You were tricked and you fell into it. Ronald Reagan actually started to champion and put together with a bunch of other people what eventually became NAFTA. Now NAFTA warped into this unbelievable trade deal that's absolutely destroyed Mexico. It's hurt jobs south of the border, just unbelievably hurt jobs. So Did Reagan know that was going to go down like that? No, I'm sure he didn't. He's a reasonable man. He's a smart, intelligent individual. And sometimes when you put things together like that, you get the liberals, you get them fighting you, you get Congress fighting you, get the Senate fighting you. And things just kind of turn out the way they turn out. So is Donald Trump going to make the right decision every single time? No, it's not going to happen. Is he going to make the best decisions every single time? I will hope so. I would hope that he would make the best decisions he can possibly make every time. And this transition team is really freaking out the left because if you haven't already known that it's kind of out there that CEO of Exxon, Rex Tillerson, is probably, some people are saying it's guaranteed, but Tillerson's probably going to be tapped for Secretary of State. That's who it's going to be. Rex, Exxon CEO. Now, it's polling two ways on Rex. I'm going to read this real quick from Breitbart. Breitbart put up an article written by Charité Spiering. And this is what he said about Tillerson. He said, Tillerson is a surprising choice, particularly for establishment political forces who urged Trump to select Mitt Romney for the job. Romney signaled interest in the position, appearing publicly to recant his opposition for the president-elect's victory. It also shows that Trump will start fresh with his diplomatic team. Rather than selecting a lifelong politician, Tillerson has spent his life in the private sector working with Exxon-Mobil and has business relations around the world. Now, I know that some of the left-wing liberal fake news articles are saying, well, yeah, he's got connections with Russia. He's got connections with Russia. Russia bestowed upon him one of the highest honors that they can to civilians, the friendship award of some sorts. And so the left is freaking out about that. He's a businessman, international businessman around the world doing business. And it's to make nice with other companies to continue doing business very well, especially Exxon-Mobil. I mean, you're talking about an oil company, a fuel company, that its job is to deliver a product to any and every single country in the world. So by him making nice with Putin, him making nice in the private sector with various countries, I think is absolutely ridiculous to think that he's in the tank with Russia. And I'm done with this Russia thing. All night last night, folks, I am not lying to you, all night last night, it was pushing this Russian hack scam, this Russian hacked the Democrats and altered the election, and now the electors are wanting a full briefing on how it went down and what went down and what? Oh. If you're not pulling your hair out, I'm pulling my hair out for you, folks. But check this out real quick. Art Laffer was on Varney and Company. This is what Art Laffer had to say about Tillerson.
Art, we have never seen a cabinet like this before. An oil company chief at the State Department? Shocked?
No, I'm not. I'm so pleased I can't stand it. Here's a guy who actually has some experience in the global community. My goodness, that should disqualify him now, shouldn't it? No, this guy really knows the world economy, knows what's going on. It's going to be a business-like administration here. This man is just perfect for Secretary of State. I remember back in the Reagan days, Reg Jones, who was head of GE, and Fred Hartley, I think was head of Exxon, used to ask me to talk to the president about this and that and the other issue. And I'd say, why don't you talk to him directly? Oh, well, they might be worried about conflict of interest. There's no conflict of interest. Once Rex Tillerson becomes Secretary of State, his sole focus will be on the United States, not on his old company. And I think that's exactly what we need is experts in these areas who really can do a great job, by the way.
Art Laffer, Ronald Reagan, chief economist. But there you go, right out of the words, right out of his mouth. I mean, that's what we want. That's what we wanted, folks. We wanted somebody that Ronald Reagan's economist would champion. Would you not? Nobody's going to be perfect. Everybody's got skeletons in their closets. Basically, we need somebody to help steer this in the right direction and who has world respect and savvy amongst other nations. And just like Laffer said, Tillerson's number one goal is going to be America. I mean, think about it. Let's think about the last Secretary of State. Take John Kerry and Hillary Clinton and set them right next to Tillerson. Out of the three secretaries of state, what would be absolutely the best choice? John Kerry, who is an absolute cuck. He got rich on the fact that his wife is the heiress to a multi-billion-dollar corporation that was left to her. She didn't build it. He didn't do anything. He married into it. And he's just an absolute, I got no words for that guy. I can't even believe the Democrats put him up to run for president of the United States. It's mind-boggling. Even more mind-boggling, they put Hillary Clinton up. Okay, so Hillary Clinton, Secretary John Kerry, negotiated the worst deal in all of American history, the Iran deal. Okay, so got a pathetic man who bows down to his wife. And then you've got Hillary Clinton. And we know what happened there. Whether it was Russian hacks, whether it was China hacks, whoever the hacks. And by the way, they're calling it Russian hack, but WikiLeaks came out and clarified, said, no, it was never a hack. It wasn't a hack. It was a leak. Big difference between a hack and a leak. A leak is from inside sources. WikiLeaks didn't say that. They didn't expose their sources, but because they're all protected. But they wanted to clarify, and they came out and clarified, said they were leaks. And I agree. I mean, there's people who worked for the DNC that are now dead, mysteriously dead, just shot in middle of the afternoon on the way to give testimony to the FBI. I mean, that's just what happens, you know. So anyway, so you got Hillary Clinton, Secretary of State, selling out America. I mean, she was friends with Putin when she sold Russia Uranium One. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about that scam of a deal to where her foundation was enriched by the Russian government. Not Trump, not Tillerson. No, Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State. Pay to play. And everybody's missing the big picture here on this Russian hack. The big picture is that this leak of the DNC emails exposed the criminal aspect of the Democrat National Party in voter fraud with Bernie Sanders, in collusion with the big mainstream media. I mean, all of this, even Pizzagate, for those of you who may not know some dark underlying details of the Hillary Clinton and John Podesta lifestyles. Ugh, creepy to say the least. So if you take those three secretaries of state, who would be absolutely phenomenal? I mean, think about it. And I'll be honest with you. I know Rudy Giuliani came out on Friday and said that he's bowing out and walking away. I listened to Mark Levin on Friday, and Levin was scathing over some of the picks that Trump has already put into place. And then he played the clip from Rudy bowing out, and it sounded pretty sad, sounded somber. Rudy made it seem like he had, other things he needed to do, and he needed to kind of step aside, and whatever the case may be. That's what happens. Kind of got to move on. Oh, and something else that came out too, Kellyanne Conway, the first female to ever successfully run a presidential campaign in America. Champion her forever. She is bowing out. She does have, she has children at home and a husband, and she's walking away from, I believe she was offered, White House spokesperson, something of the sort. And she's walking away from it because she needs to focus on her family, which, amen for that. Mothers be mothers. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, that's great. It's really good. And so speaking about, we're still talking about the transition team, Trump, you've got John Bolton, who is also, I love this guy, John Bolton. He's very, very strong, very knowledgeable, knowledgeable in the sense of like a Mark Levin type of knowledgeable historian, factual, a Rush Limbaugh type, historian. Like he knows the details of the founding fathers and history like most people don't ever know. So I really, really like John Bolton. And this is what the Huffington Post wrote. The Huffington Post wrote, Trump to nominate extreme militant John Bolton as State Department number 2. So I'm not sure exactly what the title of that is, but whatever the State Department number 2 is, apparently he's going to be working possibly very close with Tillerson and obviously Trump, be his boss, his direct boss. And here's a little soundbite of John Bolton. He was on with Chris Wallace, and they were kind of going back and forth on the whole Russian hack, this whole Russian thing. And this is Bolton's take on what's going on with this whole Russian thing. And he thinks it's a false flag, which I agree with him.
You know, many say that Russian influence and the invasion of our election system on behalf of Donald Trump, supposedly, as has been alleged, would be an outrageous invasion of our country, of our sovereignty, deeply offensive threat to our national security and the very tenets of this republic. So what should we do?
Well, I think it is important to determine the facts first. According to the media, as recently as this morning, the FBI has one view, the CIA may have a different view, and obviously out here in the public, we have no idea what the underlying facts are. But I would say this. Any effort by any foreign government to influence an American election is a direct assault on the Constitution. It's something we have always worried about, going back to George Washington's administration, when the ambassador from revolutionary France, Citizen Genet, came to this country and openly tried to build coalitions with people who wanted a more pro-French foreign policy, more anti-British foreign policy. This was a searing lesson for the early republic. And I think if the facts prove out that Russia did try to influence our election, they should face very grave consequences, both so they never even think about it again and so that nobody else ever thinks about it again.
What type of grave consequences? You know, the potential candidate for Secretary of State, Mr. Tillerson, in the past has been against sanctions on Russia. Would you support sanctions? What do you think we should do?
Well, that's why I say we have to know the facts here, and it's not at all clear to me, just viewing this from the outside, that this hacking into the DNC and the RNC computers was not a false flag operation. Let's remember what FBI Director James Comey said dealing with Hillary's homebrew server. He said, we found no direct evidence of Foreign Intelligence Service penetration, but given the nature of this, we didn't expect to, meaning a really sophisticated Foreign Intelligence Service would not leave any cyber fingerprints. And yet people say they did leave cyber fingerprints in the hacks regarding our election. So the question that has to be asked is, why did the Russians run their smart intelligence service against Hillary's server, but their dumb intelligence services against the election?
Okay, so what he's saying right there, and you gotta catch it, and what he's saying is that it looks like, possibly looks like, that Russian fingerprints were left on the hacks involving the election. Some say that it's telltale signs of Russians, and this is how they do it. This is how they roll. However, there were no fingerprints left when hacking the DNC. And the CIA and the FBI, neither one of them are confirming, and that news story that was put out on Friday saying that the CIA, FBI confirm that Russia hacked. No. That is fake news, and that's a lie. They did not confirm that at all. If nothing else, they confirmed that there's a lot of conflicting information going around. Not only that, but James Comey even said that they found, the FBI found no fingerprints of foreign entities hacking into Hillary Clinton's homebrewed server, which exposed her to be the lying criminal that she is and should have faced prosecution. We're not talking about that. We're talking about this made-up story on Russia. And like you said, like John Bolton said, this is a false flag. This could possibly be a false flag. What is the motive of Russian, or even mentioning Russian hack, Russian this, Russian? What's the motive? Who's behind the motive to all of this? And you don't have to look very far. I mean, Hillary Clinton, the whole Clinton team, championed this. The whole Never Trumpers championing this. Everybody that has been coming after Trump, cutting throats to get to Trump, to remove him, to kill him, to squash him, they never stop. They still haven't stopped. They're still coming for him. Men who are reasonable men, like Trump, will always be attacked forever by unreasonable psychopaths, unreasonable liberal, Democrat, socialist that have nothing but hate and contempt for reasonable people. It's a fact. So Fox News put an article out last night. Clinton campaign backs the call for electors to get Trump Russia intel briefing. I'd like to find out and see. One, is it even legit? Do you brief electors? I mean, the election's over. The people voted. This was a landslide. It wasn't even close. Something else that they were trying to beat Trump up about, which is just very unfortunate. Presidents of the United States are exempt from this, which is holding on to their businesses that they currently run. But Trump said last night that his oldest son, Don and Eric, plus executives, will manage his businesses. No new deals will be done during his entire term in office, and that he will focus 100% on President of the United States, being president, and making America great again, and allowing his businesses to be off to the side so that he doesn't run them. However, there's no legalities that say that he had to do this whatsoever, but the media and the left just blasting him left and right. Just one more thing to discredit, to ruin Donald J. Trump. It's just unbelievable, the people that are coming out on him. It's just, and it's going to be like this. It's going to be like this for the next 4 years. And you just hold on to your seat. This is what happens when losers lose. I mean, these losers really lost, and they lost bad. And now they can't handle it. And they're trying to, by hook or by crook, still attempt to do what they do that's wrong. I mean, it's outrageous. It's unbelievable. Who would have thought? So check this out real quick. Mike Huckabee was on Fox the other night, and this is what he had to say about rigged elections. I'm finding newfound enjoyment in listening to Huckabee. I really like the guy.
This is so unbelievable, and I'm ashamed for the Democrats and the press, but then I repeat myself, because when the New York Times has to dig out to the bottom of the birdcage to see what they wrote 8 weeks ago when they were whining about how terrible it was Donald Trump was saying something, and then they turn around and say the same thing. You know what the evidence of a rigged election was? The exposure of the DNC emails that showed that it was rigged against Bernie Sanders and toward Hillary Clinton. It was a fixed deal, and that was one of the things. I think the more amazing thing is that those DNC emails revealed just the contempt that Hillary and her chief lieutenants had for the working class people of America, and that's why she lost. And Democrats need to accept the results of a fair and free election, which is what they lectured Republicans about.
Fair and free, won fair and square. Absolutely. One other thing real quick, David Bozie, who's executive director of the transition team for Donald Trump. This is what he had one of Trump's main number one guys, and probably one of the first pick, was a guy by the name of Steve Bannon, who helped to head up BreitbartNews.com. I get a lot of great news from them. They'll repost other articles from other websites as well, and they also have writers on their own team to where they'll write their own articles and do their own investigative reporting. Incredible outlet for good, honest, real news. And David has this to say about Steve Bannon, because I know he's been bashed in the media recently as a white supremacist, it's always this name-calling thing. So here's what he's got to say about that.
Look, Steve Bannon is an incredibly brilliant strategist. I've worked with Steve, as you know, for, about 10 years or so. I do know that. And so, I've seen every aspect of him, and the leftist smear campaign that they've brought on Steve Bannon is quite offensive to me.
You, as the president of Citizens United, you've seen this act playing out. I mean, The left wing in media is taking it to new levels in this country. I thought what they did in terms of going after the president of the United States, going after you, it's State of the Union addresses, for crying out loud, let alone the rest of the warfare. But Steve Bannon, he is being attacked as viciously right now, our mutual friend. It's so undeserving because he fights so hard, and
that's the reason they attack Lou, and you know it. They attack him because he's effective.
Donald Trump because they can't change the election, but they can sure go after the person, arguably, who was the most important strategist.
I mean, that's all you got there. Lou Dobbs is a really great guy. I love how he comes off, and the people that he will bring onto his show, just absolutely incredible. Lou Dobbs. There's some more real news. Listen to Smith Radio, real news. We're going to give it to you straight. We do comment, and we'll give you our personal opinion on the news, but we'll definitely tell you if this news is fake or if this news is not fake. And you've got more name calling. The View, just absolutely despicable. These angry hags, as Dinesh D'Souza would put it.
To drag this crooked hag across the finish line.
Right. Dinesh D'Souza talking about Hillary Clinton. But this is just despicable what these horrible, awful women are doing on The View.
It's just about the person who's had the most influence. Joy, you have the list,
yes,
right?
Yeah. In 1938, Adolf Hitler. In 1939, Joseph Stalin.
Yeah.
In 1979, the Ayatollah Khomeini, and Newt Gingrich also was on that list. I just thought I'd throw it in
there. He also shares it with his friend Vladimir Putin in
2007.
And some good people, Bill Clinton, Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., Pope Francis. I think it was a good pick, though, because this is a man who did...
Did you hear that? Folks, I just don't get it anymore. These people are just ruthless. They're awful, ruthless individuals. How could you possibly put Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton up with Gandhi? It's just, look what they did to Haiti. They destroyed the Haitian people. They left them destitute. They were supposed to help. They funneled that money, hundreds of millions of dollars, funneled out of the taxpayers of America, headed for Haiti, back to big business and their own Clinton Foundation. Gandhi? Really? These women are so awful, crookedly awful. And you've got this everywhere in this mainstream media, all across the TV. You got to stay out of the TV. Folks, you've got to stay away from the news and stay away from the TV. It will do nothing but smoke your brain off. So, all right, folks, fast 30 minutes you're going to spend anywhere right here on Smith Radio. Like the show, share it with your friends. We'll be here every single day for you. Find us on Facebook.com/Smith Radio, on Twitter @Smith Radio, SMYTH. And if you like to listen to iHeartRadio, you can find us there, iHeart.smithradio.com. Have a good day.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.